diagram is a visual to show all the possible outcomes. A visual to show all the possible outcomes in an organized way. All right, as we work today, I'm going to use one highlighter and I'm going to use 2 colored pencils. So in those bins, if you want to grab a highlighter and then 2 colors. One highlighter and 2 colored pencils. So I'm going to use an orange highlighter and then a blue and yellow. You can use 2 other colors. It's your choice. Doesn't have to be the same. So a highlighter and 2 colored pencils. Alright, so a tree diagram is a visual to show all the possible outcomes. I'm going to highlight that part. Alright, so possible outcomes. Yesterday we came up with a vocabulary word for that. Does anyone remember what we called all the possible outcomes? Sample space. Good. So for sample space, normally for sample space we're just counting how many there are. Today when we do this, we're listing that sample space. We're going to see all those options. Okay? And it's in an organized way. That's our key word there too, is organized. So I'm going to underline that. All right, and that's really all we're going to write for a definition today. We have an example, but our example is going to literally take up the rest of the page. So the first thing of our example, we're going to write down what is the example. We're going to make a tree diagram, and then we're going to find some probabilities using that tree diagram. Okay? So for our example, it's going to be about completing homework. Completing homework. All right, so when we complete homework, we're going to pretend that this is for a different class, because in this class we don't usually use paper. We're going to pretend this is a paper assignment. Let's pretend that maybe it's your one-pager. When you complete your homework, the first decision you need to make is what type of paper you're going to use. Are you going to use notebook paper? Or are you going to use blank paper? Like computer paper. Refocus.
What kind of pencil?
Ifra. Yep, we'll get there. Side conversations.
Where are you doing?
Oh, you're right. That's the second. You got it. That was the second one. So our second decision after we pick out our paper is we're going to choose what to write with. So we're going to either choose from my pencil or a pen. Now our third decision gets a little bit more complicated because it's not just a straightforward answer. It depends on the second decision. So for our third decision, if you pick a pencil, what kind of options might you have if we pick a pencil? A mechanical or regular, yeah. So if I pick pencil, that's going to be a mechanical.
Slow down.
Okay. Sorry, I get too excited.
Keep going.
Okay. We got a lot of people writing, so I'll give it a little bit.
Better to see.
Hey, Blake, do I need to call home and tell your parents how you don't know how not to throw things?
He just touched me, though.
I didn't touch you, it threw something. Okay, mechanical or regular. And then pretend you have some pens in your backpack. You don't have all the options because we're not rich. but what are some common colors of pens we might have?
Blue.
Black.
Blue, black, or red?
Now, what's the actual...
What?
I'm not even talking.
Savi's just talking.
Bad word.
All right.
You're bad.
Hey, refocus.
Do you not know who I am? Like, what?
All right. So as we create this tree diagram, it's going to branch out. It starts and it stems from our first decision, and then from our first decision, it goes different from our second decision to our third decision. There's kind of two ways we can do our tree diagram. We can either make our tree diagram to go from the top and then work our way down, or we can go from left to right. I'm going to do left to right. Okay, usually that's how we do tree diagrams, but it just kind of depends on the space and how you want to use your space. We just have a lot of options, and it'll be easier to go across. So I'm going to take up probably close to 12 lines. I'm going to try and make sure I leave at least 7 or 8 lines at the bottom. Okay, and our first thing we're going to do is title it. So what is this tree diagram going to be about? What kind of decisions about what? Homework decisions, sure. So we could say homework options, homework decisions, homework choices. And that's kind of like our tree trunk. It's where we're starting. Now from our tree trunk, we're going to have branches coming out. And we just go by decision by decision. So what is our first decision we need to make after we choose to do our homework? Lined or blank paper. So on this first branch up here, I'm going to put lined paper. And now in most tree diagrams, they like to box their work. Some people, they like those boxes. Some people don't. It's okay. Do whatever makes sense to you. And at the other end of our tree diagram, we're going to have blank paper. Now, if you are looking at this and you're like, why did she separate them so much? It's because these branches are going to keep going and going and going. And eventually they're going to get closer together because they're going to get bigger and bigger as it goes. So if you wrote yours really close together, you might want to separate them a little bit. All right, so we have lined paper and we have blank paper. Now I'm going to go to my second decision. After I pick lined paper, what would be my next thing I get to choose? A pencil or a pen. So again, I'm going to space those out a little bit. But those branches come from lined paper. I've already made the decision to make a lined paper. Now I need to follow the path to pencil or follow the path to pen. Do I have those same options if I pick blank paper?
Yes.
Yep, so I can do the same two there. Pencil. And pen. All right, was that the end of our decision making? Nope. We had one more decision to make, but it depended on this second decision. So in this one, if I follow, it's kind of like a choose your own adventure path. I follow this path, I go to lined paper, and then I choose the path that goes to pencil. What would be my next pathway after pencil?
Mechanical or regular?
Good, mechanical or regular.
Okay, I ain't making no group Friday.
You can just do M for mechanical
Okay.
and R for regular.
Okay.
That was a nice sound effect. It's like I'm a DJ and I can just hit sound effects. Bow, 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 bow. You know that one?
Anyway.
Okay. Like the little horn. Meow, 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 meow. You know what I'm talking about? Wicka wicka. I'm a DJ. I could beatbox. Alright, just kidding, I can't. Alright, so we have our pencil. Are those two options going to be the same as when we go to our pen?
No.
No.
Black.
Blue, black.
Good. So pen, we had blue, black, and red.
I already messed up.
How'd you?
Just laugh.
A little bit. That was a really funny sound effect. I'm not laughing at you. I was laughing at the sound.
No, she was laughing at you.
No, I was not. Stavia, don't be mean.
I'm never mean. I'm the nicest person on
That's
earth.
such a lie.
You got it?
Don't be lying on my
I
name
wrote the
now.
wrong things. I forgot I wrote pencil before. Or I wrote
Oh,
pen
just-
before pencil.
Okay, I'll just make that into like a B-L. Or black or blue.
Oh yeah, okay. I see.
You got it. And then just be careful on the next one.
I'm gonna watch that.
Miss Merle,
All right, so now below, we're almost
No
done.
phone.
This next part's really important.
No, I'm looking for Chromebook charger.
Oh, I got one right here.
Miss Merle, can I cut this?
No.
Thank you.
I got mine. All right. Next on the bottom, it's really similar now. For a pencil, what is our two branches? Mechanical or regular? Hey, refocus. And then if I choose blank paper, pen, what are my three options for pen? Blue, black, and red.
Yeah, whatever it is.
All right, we're just going to do two probabilities now. So this is a tree diagram. On your practice today, on your quick check, there's going to be one question that's vocabulary. It's taken from the very first sentence we wrote. There's going to be the second question. You're going to create one of these. So it'll give you these options on the top, and based on the word problem, you're going to create the tree diagram. Does that make sense? The third question on your quick check is going to ask you it'll have a tree diagram already made, and you're going to have to read it and figure out what it says. Okay? So first thing we need to figure out before we do any probabilities is we need to figure out what is our sample space. Up here we have listed all the options. I need to know how many total options are there. So remember, as we count, an option means I'm following the path all the way to the end until I get to like a dead end. So lined paper, pencil, mechanical, that would be 1. Lined paper, pencil, regular, that would be 2. Black, sure. And blue. So really what we're counting is all these dead ends. When we see a dead end, we know that that's a full option. So how many dead ends do we have, or how many leaves, if you want to think about it as leaves on a tree, do we have at the end of that row? 10. So there are 10 total options of ways we could choose to complete our homework if this was our choices. So we're going to do two probabilities based on that. All right, our first probability is we're going to figure out what is the probability. We use capital P, and we say that as probability of lined paper and pencil. So if everyone just randomly grabs stuff, I'm finding that probability of lined paper and a pencil. All right, a couple of things here. I'm going to use those two colored pencils that we picked up earlier. And I'm going to use one color for lined paper. And I'm going to use the other color for a pencil. And then I'm going to go back up to my diagram here and just shade those in where I see those. So lined paper, I picked yellow, so I'm just going to color this box in yellow with the lined paper. And then I'm going to color in my pencil blue, because that's what I chose. So pencil, I have pencil up here, but I have another pencil down here. So I'm going to color both of those blue. Now, the reason why we're doing these colors is because when we look back at our notes, it'll kind of help us figure out how we got this answer. Sometimes when we look back at our notes, we're like, cool, it says 17. What does that mean? How did we get 17? I have no idea. So the reason why we color code is to kind of show where we looked. Okay? Helps us look at it and find our notes a little bit faster, figure it out. Now, there's a key word here that's really important, and that's that word and. Now, if you ask your parents to go to the movies, and they say you can, but you have to clean your room and do the dishes. If you just clean your room, is that enough to go to the movies?
Nope.
If you just do the dishes, is that enough?
Hell,
Nope. If you use that word and, what does that mean?
you gotta do both of them.
You have to do both. So this one is a both statement when we say that word and. And I highlighted that. So if you wanted to highlight it, you can. Just that word and. That was important. Yeah.
No.
It's not math related.
Oh, can we talk about it later then?
No.
We're almost done. All right, so lined paper and pencil. So I'm going to go back to my tree diagram. Hey, stop. And it's going to be out of 10. We have 10 options. I need to figure out how many options have both a lined paper and a pencil. So it's kind of like that choose your own adventure. I'm going to start with lined paper, and then I have to go to pencil, and then it doesn't matter. So what could I do after pencil? Mechanical, or I could do regular. Can I go to lined paper and pen? Nope. Can I do this one with the pencil down here at the blank paper?
No.
Nope. It has to be lined and pencil. So how many options come from lined pencil? 2. Mechanical, regular. So we have 2 out of 10. All right, and then remember we can simplify that. If you're not sure how to do that, you can always use the Desmos calculator.
1 out of 5.
You got it? What did you divide by to get 1 out of 5?
It's just, it was, I don't know.
I just read my head back.
It was just in your head. I love that. So 2 out of 10 on Desmos to make it a fraction, you just hit that circle. 2 divided by 10, and it makes it 1 out of 5. Okay, and we can do that as a decimal and a percent. So 1/5 as a decimal, 0.2. And then 0.2 is a hard one because we get a little tricky with that when it's just one number. Does anyone remember what that is as a percent? 20, good. And remember in the calculator, if you're not sure, you can just hit that times 100. So that's our 20%. So yesterday we talked about likelihood, and it's on the board over there with that green kind of right here. So is 20%, is that going to be our impossible? Never. Unlikely, even chance, likely, or it's for sure certain? Good, unlikely. So if you wanted to categorize that, we put unlikely.
So is that how our check is going to be?
Your check is going to show just with fractions today, but yes. All right, one more. Last one. This one's going to be a little bit, I don't know if quicker is the right word, but we won't have to talk as much. All right, probability of lined paper or pencil. So I'm going to take a second. I'm going to color code that just like I did before. My lined paper I did in yellow, so I'm going to keep the same color, almost the same. What's our key difference between these two problems? Or, good. So again, if you go to your stepdad and you say, hey, can I go to the movies tonight? And your stepdad says, yeah, but you need to either clean your room or do the dishes. If you clean your room, is that enough to go to the movies?
Yeah.
Yep. If you do the dishes, is that enough?
Yep.
What if you do both? Is your stepdad gonna be like, no, you did too many chores. You can't go to the movies now.
It'll be better.
Yeah, you could do both, right? Okay, so an or means you could do one, or you can do both. It doesn't have to be just one. It can be both of them at the same time. They don't have to go together, but you could put them together. All right, so as we take a look back at the tree diagram, when I find this, what I like to do is I kind of cover up one part of our tree diagram at a time so I can count. So let's start with the lined paper, because that was our bigger choice here. How many options are there with lined paper?
1, 2.
So I could do lined paper, pencil, mechanical, that's 1.
Oh.
2. Can I do lined paper and pen this time?
Yeah. No.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, it's an or, so it's okay to, as long as I have one of those. So I have a lined paper. So lined paper and pen is how many?
3.
3. So how many with lined paper together? 5. Now our key here is we can't recount. So now I'm going to count pencils, but I already did those ones. So that's why I like to cover up, because now I'm going to cover that up. I'm seeing how many more options were there without that lined paper that would work.
It's the same.
It's 5, but I'm not looking at all of them because I need to have a pencil. So how many more options have that pencil? 2 more. These ones are the ones that don't work. So how many together would that be? We had 5 up here, 2 more, so together that would be 2 and 5? 7. So 7 out of 10.
That was you, Ruby?
I don't know. All right, 7 over 10 is what as a decimal?
No,
Good, 0.7. Okay, refocus.
Are you sure?
Good, what percent is 0.7? Good, 70%.
So,
Because we move that decimal over 2 times. So when it moves over 1, that'd be 7, but another time makes it 70. And is 70% impossible, unlikely, even chance, likely, or certain?
likely.
Good. What number kind of is the in-between of unlikely and likely? 50. Good. So if it's under 50, unlikely. Over 50, likely. What if it's exactly 50?
Then it's even.
Good. Even chance or equally likely. Nice job. You guys crushed.